Hello, Mr. Sajedi. Good to see you again.
Hello, thank you very much.
Today, I learned that there is a project of the EU funded by the EU. It's called EUQU and is dedicated to researching on the Quran and translations of the Quran in Europe.
Yes.
What is the relevance of such a project in the heart of Europe?
Yes, as you correctly stated, the European Quran's project, known as EUQ, is a 6-year project, 6-year research initiative from 2019 till 2025, funded by the European Research Council under Horizon 2020 program. The project explores the role of Quran and the Quranic science in shaping European intellectual and religious, cultural and heritage and history between the 12th and 19th century. It investigates that how the Islamic holy book was translated, interpreted, and utilized by the various European groups, including Jews, Christians, free thinkers, atheists, and also the Muslim by self. And maybe you know that this is a common project between 6 or 7 universities in Spain, in Italy, in Denmark, Nantes in France, Amsterdam, Barcelona in Spain, and also the Human Research of Hungary. The activity of this project contains the documentation and the dissemination of Quranic manuscripts and the translations of this and interpretation also. And also analyzing, it's very important, analyzing the Quran influence on European religious and political thought, and and also its roles in inter-Christian debates. It's very important, and also to find some way of study in the behavior of the Muslim minorities. Because they think that by recognizing the Quran themes, they can identify the behavioral patterns of the Muslim minorities. In this scope, they try to make some bridge between the Christian in Europe and also the Muslim minorities. You know that for the centuries, the Europe was known as a Christian cultural identity. I mean that the Christian features was featured by the European culture. And I think that the European Union wants to make multi-voices culture, and Muslim Islam is one of them, beside with Judaism and Christianism also. But problem or the point of criticizing is that it seems that they are surrendering the geopolitical realities, which are manipulated by the some Islamic groups or some forces out of the continent, by organizing the migration, because now we have more than 11%. I think that more than 11 or 12% of the European population are Muslims, and this is a very big percentage. and the European Union cannot neglect anymore the presence of this big minority in Europe. And now the European Union has planned to make some balance between, I mean that they try to make or to recognize this percentage of the Muslims, of the minorities, also in the level of the decision making in the European Union by itself.
So, where do you see the risk of this project?
Well, there is some risks. One of them is that such projects is an inter-universities projects, and university always need money, and the big danger is that such universities are influenced by the other groups, non-scientific groups.
Yes, so what might be the outcome of this influence?
So we have to pay attention that there is more than hundreds of Islamic, more than 100 cults of sects that affiliated with Islam, and the Quran is the only common things between them. Most of them are for the centuries sanctify some dubious traditions and narrations, and the danger is that if the project not limited to Quran by itself and try to investigate also these superstitions and narrations that are not really from Quran, and in most cases they are against the core of the Quran, and actually the religious leaders used during the centuries to control, to exercise their supervision to the societies. If such narrations, such traditions be also found the position as position of Quran in such researches, then we can we have to concern about the future of such projects. I mean that then we have to afraid of such project be deviated from an unbiased scientific method and goes and fall to the populism and to the, I mean that non-scientific and even superstitions. And the other, and it means that then the superstitions can find some voices in the universities, and the universities usually are against superstitions. They have to be just scientists. They have to use the scientific methods. Another, I mean, danger or threat is that usually there is some inter-academic plans, and so most of these universities, I mean that the Islamic universities are located in the Islamic countries, for example, in Iran, and we are not sure that how the academic relations inside the university is, and we are not sure that the same rules and values that in the Western universities are used by the academicians. The same is also, I mean that we are not sure that they are loyal to such values and to such, I mean that such relationships. I mean that such values and criteria, if you have to say. I mean that there is a big gap, and there is differences between values of Islamic centers in Islamic countries and the Islamic centers in non-Islamic countries. And usually the Islamic centers in the Islamic countries under influence of the seminaries and under the influence of the religious leaders, because usually they have also the science, they think that they have the science, and they are invited to share their common their points of points of view. And sometimes we see that in Iran, for example, the Islamic centers, the Islamic study centers don't follow and are not loyal to the scientific rules. As an example, I can, for example, mention the Al-Mustafa International Al-Mustafa University, which is totally based on the narrations, based on the non-scientific and non-academic traditions, but is known as a university around the world because just it used the name of the university. There is no control, and even I have heard that they have very big exchange student program, like Erasmus, for example, in Europe. They have also some exchange students, and this is the big. It makes a big danger to give a space to superstitions and to non-academic and non-scientific methods to rule such project and such universities, such projects. I mean, yes.
Now we might maybe look on this EUQU project once again. Can you see any traces of influence already of maybe Iran or maybe another Islamic country?
Honestly, I didn't focus on the universities engaged in this project, but I have focused on the other universities at the same level, at the same position. For example, there is a very famous foundation, Alavi Foundation, in the United States, that usually gives the big donations to the universities. Once he donated, this university donated, this center, the Alavi Center donated more than $100,000 to the Columbia University just for hosting the Mr. Ahmadinejad for a speech. And in another case, the Rutgers University received more than $350,000 from the Alavi Foundation just for launch Persian or Shia study program. Another case that I can give you is the London Modern Science College, LMS, that also is established in UK by the Iranian National I forgot the name. I think it was the Ali Ehteshami, and claims that to be leading and distance learning institutions. And I think that if I'm not, I think that the amount was very, very big. About, I think that 500 million pound, British pound, without any justification. Another case that I have already said to you was Al-Mustafa International University in Qom, that has established various branches around the world, and they are affiliated with the University of Al-Mustafa and with the religious leaders. I mean that the high religious leaders in Tehran and Qom. Another ties that I can say is the Mr. Hossein Mousavi. You have ever heard that he was the ambassador of Iran in Germany, and he was also engaged in a big Mykonos terror file, and he was condemned. And now he is an academician in the Princeton University. And I have heard that Iran has paid to this university to hire them, because he has now an voice, an Iranian and pro-Iranian voice in the university. Such influence is not just one. There is also some influence in the in Islamic Islamic centers to make a voice for Iran, and I mean that for the Iranian version of Shiism around the world, in UK and in other countries. But from these six special universities involved in this project, I have no any information, I have no investigation, but the danger is also close to this project, to such projects that be penetrated by the influence of the Islamic, I mean that the elements affiliated with the Iranian regime.
Okay, so as a conclusion, is there a message you want to convey to representatives of the EU or even other politicians of European countries?
This, I mean that thinking that European is or should be a multi-voices and multicultural society is very good, and is very useful, and is according to the human values and human rights and values. But they have to be cautioned that not be penetrated by the Islamic, because it's very sensitive, as the border between scientific methods and superstition is very narrow, and they have to be exact. And they have also to know that in the Islamic society by itself, the Quran is not known. And they have also give the chance to the non-scholars also that they have a study about the Quran, to make some, for example, workshops, or to have some to hold some conferences, and even to make some debates about between the various thinking flows inside the Islam. Because, as I said, we have more than hundreds of groups, sects and cults affiliated with Islam, and just we have to be limited to the Quran by itself and not anymore, because it seems that during the centuries the religious leaders to exercise and to impose their supervisions to the massa of the people during the centuries, they made some, or they falsified some narrations, some versions, some false version of Islam. But if just we concentrate on Quran by itself, and surely with scientific methods, I think that it would be very useful, because the people, I mean that the people affiliated with the Islamic regime or with the other Islamic cults, they cannot use the scientific methods, so they have to be to remain loyal to the scientific methods and visions.
Thank you very much for this point of view, Mr. Sajedi. Maybe in one of our next interviews, we can dive even deeper into this matter concerning the Quran and the importance and relevance of the Quran in the times of Muhammad and maybe of nowadays, and have some more different thoughts about this, and how some extremists are misusing just the terms of Quran or Islam
Yes.
for their own goals. Thank you.
Surely, yes. Thank you very much.